You guys, welcome to another episode of Meaningful Wealth with Cynthia and Jules. How are you? It is Friday and we are starting a few minutes on having these weekly live events with you guys. And so I'm going to invite her to join our conversation today. I want to say before we get started, I have been super anticipating this call. Hi, Jules. How are you, baby?
I am good. And you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can, and I can see you and all the things. Where are you? You're always having fun somewhere.
We're running some errands right now. So we just
Ooh,
had lunch and I thought they're going to go take care of some stuff and I would pop on here with you. You're looking
let's
beautiful.
go. I was just telling our audience how much I look forward to these calls because it always gets my mind going into like, how can we serve our clients better? You know what I mean?
Ooh, I love that.
And these conversations just dive so deep. And, we have a very interesting topic today. We were talking about how to reclaim our authority in business. And I just have a question for you. What does that mean to you? Like, why would you want to reclaim your authority? Why, like, what does that mean?
Oof, that's a big one. So I would say what that means to me and what I've found working with the clients that I've worked with, it's going back to the root. What is the root belief that is causing you to stop or block what it is you want in life? And I think we all can attest to the fact that we keep ourselves very busy here in this life. So it's hard to sit down and decide, like, with clarity, what is it that I want? What is it that I want? Not what is it my neighbor wants or my best friend wants or I've been taught to want, right?
What do you
And
think that's compromise, though? Like, why do you think that happens?
why do I think we block that, or why do I think we don't know what that is?
Yeah, both, right? It's almost like a waterfall effect, right?
Yeah. Well, one, I don't think this how our mind works isn't taught in school, and it really could be. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be this big complicated explanation. Um, most people understand how computers work. So, you have a program, you put the program in, the program becomes obsolete or outdated, then you update it or you delete the program, right? Well, our brain works the same way. So I really think it should start with, we should be taught this in schools, to be honest. Um, because the reality is, when we're born, we're designed for survival purposes to, learn by those around us. Well, if those around us, you know, maybe have unhealthy habits, then that's what we're taught. And I would love to hear this answer in the questions below. But how many of you thought that you grew up in a family that was maybe normal and, that's just how life is, right? And then you get to a certain point in life and you're like, holy cow, my life really wasn't, and normal is such a, probably not the best word, but healthy. Maybe my family wasn't necessarily as healthy as I thought it was, or maybe as safe or as stable as I thought it was, right? Maybe the habits that I thought were good or normal. I hate to use that word. I need a better one. But you know, you kind of grow up in this, like, oh yeah, this was great, and then you realize there were so many better ways that could have been taught to me, right? Not that I'm bagging on childhood. I had a beautiful childhood, but there's a lot of things I look back on it and I'm like, I wish I was taught something simple like how to use credit cards, right? We pass that information down. Well, we pass habits down too, and we also pass blocks. So, I was taught credit cards, you'll just get yourself in trouble, so don't use them. But then, you miss out on all the other positive ways you could use them, right? So now I have a choice point. Do I pass that down to my kids, or do I choose a better path and learn it myself and pass that down? And I believe that's what we're here for. And so I guess to answer your question, it is a big waterfall. So I to me, I feel like the biggest thing for this conversation would be is becoming hyper aware of what is your normal and is it the normal you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
what
for
are the
those of you
habits?
that are in the audience, I'm sorry?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to invite our audience. If you're here live, do say hello to us. We want to see you. I see Ashley here. Um, and, we just want to welcome you. We're just having a very, very cozy conversation. I am in my normal space on Friday afternoons, having some cup of coffee, and I just having these conversations with Jules because, when it comes to, I mean, how many of you guys are in corporate? If you are, please let me know that you're in corporate, hashtag corporate. If you are a business entrepreneur, hashtag business. Um, I feel like both, to your point, Jules, like you were talking about how we are programmed for survival. And if you really study how like the language that is used when you go to school, it's like you want to get educated so that you can survive the world, right? Like so you can make it out there. And a lot of the skill sets that we're taught in school can be great, obviously. But then there's others that are obsolete, right? So I haven't used algebra since I took it back in, 2008 when I was going to college, and I was doing my associates. I just haven't touched it. And the thing about it is that it didn't really serve me in taxes. It didn't serve me in understanding money. It didn't serve me in understanding things. But to go to the concept of self authority and why it's important to master it, I feel like we become a product of multiple opinions, that we lose ourselves in the process, and we think we just have to succeed. We have to get to a point of this is what success looks like. But we're so wired so differently. Even though we are all human and we have the capacity to do so many things, you're wired different, I'm wired different. So I think about like when I was back in corporate and I was working, 60, sometimes 80 hours a week. Which is insane to think about. And I was a single mom at that time.
Ooh.
I can't do that right now. I won't allow myself to do that anymore. And thank God I don't have to do that anymore, because when I built my family business, I built it in such a way that now I only work whenever my son's in school, right? And I give myself permission that once he's out, I am focused on my family. Like I'm not doing anything else. Like I am not attending business. Unless it's absolutely important and urgent, I don't engage in it. Why? Because I have lived giving my authority away to prove myself to my job, to prove myself to my boss, to say I deserve the 2%, the 5% raise that you gave me at the end of the year. Like, and to be frank, to me, that price has not been worth it in the past. So I got really smart at making money differently, because I was not about to your point create something that was going to get me to a goal and just not be happy. And so I
Yeah.
feel like, when I talk to clients, there's this idea. I was talking to a beautiful client, this is an example, the other day. She wants to retire. She's 55. She wants to retire. She wants to buy a house on the beach and one by the cabins, by the woods. And the thing about it is that she wants to retire in 10 years or less, but the path wasn't clear. And so after diving deeper, we found that self authority has been compromised, because she's been living a pattern that, rather than energizing her path, it's draining it.
Ooh, can you go deeper into that?
Well, absolutely. It was fascinating that, she was working in all the things, like she's taking a test for a license that she needs to take. But the way she talks about her job is like, oh, I'm just here to pay the bills. I'm just here to do the thing. And I'm taking this test to do this license thing. And I said, okay, that's great. And what would happen if you actually did something that you were happy about, that you actually look forward to, that you don't have to like drain your energy tank by Sunday because you're thinking about Monday, what would that look like? You know, she's very team oriented. She thrives in team. And when we were diving deeper, I found that it was a matter of trust. She was lacking trust, not only in her ability to trust other people to get the mission accomplished, but she was still blaming herself for past mistakes that wouldn't allow her to connect and fully trust her teammates. And it really took me back to the days where I self-sabotage not only my relationships but also my business because there was a lack of trust. And there's no way you can build anything without lack of trust that you care about. Now hear me. If you care, if you don't care, you can do many things. That's like getting a sugar daddy just because you want him to pay your bills and you don't give a damn if the guy talks to 10 women. You don't care about him. You just want him to take care of your bills. You can treat your career like a sugar daddy and have him, pimp him out to pay your bills. You can certainly do that. But if you are interested in a loving, monogamous, respectful, intimate, thrilling, juicy, loving, fiery relationship, you bet your ass you're going to be so ready to scratch somebody if he gives a hint of entertaining anyone else or another woman comes to try to entertain him. That's the power of giving a damn, right? And a lot of folks, I include myself in this, when I was back in corporate, we did the whole corporate thing because we had to do it to pay the bills. And we acted like we didn't care. But then when there was a problem, we're like, oh, we don't want our customers to be upset, blah, 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 blah. So you do care.
Yeah.
So can we acknowledge that you care? Can we acknowledge that you are there for a purpose and you don't like doing flaky shit and you actually want to create a meaningful existence while you're there? Now, do you want to stay there forever? Probably not. It's like staring at that boyfriend that you know is a heart. You're staring at your future heartache, and that's it. You know it's a temporary thing, but you have to be there. You are willing to pay the karmic price of dating this person until you learn the lesson. But you know deep down that relationship is not going to take you anywhere. You can take your business in that level or your career.
You hit something really big that I want to make sure we highlight because your brilliance, man. You hit the trigger of trust and trusting yourself, and I think that is bigger than most people realize. Like, I know, at least in my work, a lot of things come down to trusting yourself. And like you said, you make a mistake, a lot of us will deep down go, okay, and we do this unconsciously, okay, I made a mistake, I don't want to do that again, so beware of XYZ. And sometimes we even make mental notes of, like, I'm not good at, or I can't do. And that right there triggers trust, because it's that trust in yourself, just even trust in the fact that you can trust yourself to choose if somebody has your best interest or not. Like, even that in teams, like being able to trust your team to do something and trust yourself to explain it the way you want it done and then hand it over fully rather than micromanaging. Like, trust comes up in so many places. So I just want to make sure, like, I want to point out your genius in even stating that, because that's such a huge thing that I find in working with people, is that is an underlying root for a lot of sabotage, self-sabotage, blocking of success or reaching certain goals, procrastination. A lot of it comes down to self-trust.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating because, I learned so much from these conversations. I learned so much from our clients. I know you relate to this so much because when we coach, when we do things, we also have our own aha moments. I know
Yeah.
for me, as I'm navigating a divorce, working still our 7-figure business, there's a lot of trust factors that keep getting triggered, right? Because obviously we're going through a divorce for a reason, right? And the thing about it is that you brought up something very beautiful that I want to make sure we highlight as well, because the way we speak to ourselves absolutely sets the tone for how we show up. And this is why it's important to reclaim your self authority. This isn't about, well, this is who they are. I mean, I guess you can take that route and say, well, he betrayed me, she betrayed me once, so that's it, right? That we forgive and not forget type of deal. But when you walk with that mindset, and it's absolutely okay. I mean, there's people that have cross aligned with you that you might feel like, hey, I don't want to mess with this anymore. But if you show up that way, you're going to keep validating that story. And I feel like we fail to realize often how powerful the stories we tell ourselves impact how we show up, right? So I'll give you an example. I was having a conversation with a girlfriend this morning for this very conversation. It's like sometimes we forget that we have the ability to trust ourselves even when we don't feel confident in trusting others. And hear me when I say this, and I say this with the most love and respect. If you can trust yourself, and if you can trust yourself, other people's behavior, other people's validation of trust or not, while it may hurt, you will be okay. You will be okay, right? You will be okay. So what would business, what would your relationships, what would your meetings look like if you showed up knowing that you can trust the environment, that you can trust the outcome?
Ooh, that's a big one. I just got chills. And knowing, just like water finds its own level, energy matches energy. If you put out trust, and it's simply, let's say it's trust in your team. Instead of micromanaging, trust that you can explain what you want done and how you want it executed in a way your team can do and understand, and give it to them with the trust and the faith that they're going to execute. Because most people honestly want to do good. They take pride in their work. So, if you have that trust in yourself that, yes, I can explain this and with clarity and support them so that they get it done, I don't have to micromanage. I can step back and pass that power baton on, right? That trust gets now reflected out. And just like a tuning fork, it tends to draw trust back. So you get what you give. I know we've all heard that. And it's so true. And I challenge our audience, like, if you find yourself in this weekend, something simple, test it. Test it.
I love that. So let's create a challenge today, right now. Right now. Let's create this challenge.
Oh,
Identify one area in your life where you feel uneasy. Identify one person in your life. Maybe they recently betrayed you. Maybe there's conflict right now. Maybe you're feeling some type of way. And I want you to ask yourself, before you attend a meeting, before you attend a conversation with them, and Jules did a beautiful reel about this, actually. I think I saw it yesterday. You were doing some sort of a breathing work. But I just want to invite our audience to set the tone for your next conversation with this human or with these humans. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, if I trusted this event, this conversation, if I trusted this person, how would I show up?
it's a good one. I love that.
How would I show up? And ask, if you believe in God, source, universe, ask for it to set the tone of that conversation. Jules, do you have anything to add, baby?
I think alongside that, I would love to touch upon the point that we had made before of like past like beliefs that we might have of I can't or I won't or I shouldn't. If you're unsure of catching those and there's something you want to do better, but you're not sure what's missing. Our brain, our mind is amazing at answering questions. And I think I had said this on a previous post, but like if we, or a previous talk with you, but if we said something like, you hear people say like, why does this always happen to me, right? Well, your brain goes, okay, well, they want a list, let's show them a list, right? Like, and so let's play that game. So that would be my next challenge, is like, okay, let's say money. Most people are would like to make extra money. So let's say that's that question. So I could say, why am I so good at making cash? Or what are the things that I currently can do to make extra money? And you can get specific on that dollar amount. But if you notice how I'm asking the questions, I'm asking it in a way that's priming my brain to tell me what it is that I'm good at, or what it is, because it's problem solving. Whether we realize it or not, it's always problem solving, and it's loving to give us a list. That's why when you stub your toe and you're like, oh, this always happens to me, and then you have like 4 more incidences that happen afterwards, it's because your brain is going, well, let's just show them.
Let's prove you
Let's
right,
prove it
honey.
true. What?
It's like the brain is like, you're the rightest person in the world. Let's prove you right, honey.
Yes. And so, I'm going to put the challenge out there. Let's ask the proper questions so we get answers we want. You ask a silly question, you get a silly answer, right? Let's ask really good, consciously formed questions so we get the answers we want. And then the trick to it is, when you ask, you need to be in a place where you can sit still for a moment. And I'm not saying this has to be deep meditation, but just sit still, and whatever the first thing that comes up, and I'll share this, but whatever the first thing that comes up is your subconscious talking to you. Have I ever talked about how the subconscious talks to us?
Uh, we have done it, you and I, privately, but I don't think we've done it with our audience. Is anybody here that is interested to hear this? Because I am so in. Go for it, Jules. I'm so in.
I'll make it very short and simple, because I like short and simple. It's a Friday, right? I don't know if anybody else woke up tired, but my daughter, so sleepy this morning. Her
Oh,
body
girl.
knows it's Friday. So very simply put, our subconscious always answers first if we allow space for it. It will always answer first. It will always answer honestly, whether we like the response or not. It will always answer honestly. Um, it You'll almost always want to change the answer, and that's because our subconscious mind runs on emotion and our conscious mind runs on logic. And so when that first answer comes up, our conscious mind will listen to it and analyze it, and most of the time want to change it. So please don't, because your subconscious is talking to you. So it always answers first. It always answers honestly. You almost always will have a knee-jerk answer or knee-jerk action to want to change the answer. It's most often very quiet, and that's usually because the response is coming from very deep. So that's how our subconscious talks to us. Now, we are busy, and I honestly think by design, but this world, we're very busy. And so we don't usually sit with ourselves in quiet. The most successful women that I know that are highly successful, when I work with them, they genuinely are trying, but they have a very hard time doing some of this work. And it's just for lack of practice. We have been so practiced at go, get this done, tick this off, go, go, go. But we don't practice slowing down and taking purposeful moments. Bless you. Um, and so that's all this is. So when you ask these questions like, what are the things that I do that make me great at bringing in money? What are the things that I do that, I fill in the blank, right? And then just sit, and it won't take long. But the first thoughts that come up, that's your subconscious talking to you. That's your subconscious answering you. And it says, you're not. Well, then contact us, because that's a block and we're happy to help you. And the beautiful thing is now you have a choice. You either have an answer of XYZ, we can keep going this way, or B, a block has come up, and we can change those. Blocks are just like an old program running on a computer. We just control alt delete that puppy, and we insert whatever you wish, and that's what we do. So you've got an answer either way.
I love that. I love that. You know, that whole sit still has been a thing for me to practice a lot. And I have a group called the Triple V, what I call the Triple V. And it sounds like ninja moves, but it really isn't. It's a manifestation tank. I call it the Velvet Vortex Falls, which we meet every month on full moon. And it's a time to really sit back and get quiet, get with our thoughts. And I feel people, we have been programmed to be busy so we don't have to think about the things that really matter to us. You know, I cannot tell you how many women have been going through a heartache, and the first thought is, I gotta get busy. I gotta get to work. I gotta finish this
Yep.
task. I gotta do something, right? Gotta get the kids ready. Whatever is gonna keep your mind busy. But it is in the power of stillness that you get to know yourself, that you really get to make a big impact so that you, when you ask yourself the questions, if I was to trust this, if I could trust this, then how would I show up? Because to your point, Jules, a brilliant point, our minds constantly want to boost our egos to say, honey, you are so right. Let me tell you all about, let me tell you all about what you got going on when you ask me this question. Whether the question is stupid or not, you know, people say there's no stupid question. That's a cute thing to say, but there are stupid questions that I know I've asked. So we have an opportunity to make a difference in our business. We have an opportunity to make a difference in our communities, in our relationships with our children, with our clients, with our peers, with our teams, with our upline, with whoever is in your circle, right? We have the opportunity to make an impact. And so Jules and I are working on putting something together very, very juicy, where if you feel like if these conversations are sparking something in your soul, please let us know. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what is coming up for you. And we're doing these for you, right? We're answering questions. We're talking to different people on our DMs. Feel free to message us. Feel free to talk to us. It's us answering our inbox. It's not a robot or anything. And let us know. But ultimately, we are putting something together so that if you feel like you want to create a different result, you get to work with both of us so that you create that result and some and more, right? That's the power of rewiring your subconscious mind. That is the power of owning your self authority and saying, no, this is what I want and I can do it and I got this, right? We've all played that role of CEO. Yeah, I'm going to make this day, I'm going to own the day. And then we show up, we have the high heels, the red bottoms, the coffee. We're staring out the window asking ourselves, how the hell are we going to run today? How are we going to manage today? How are we going to accomplish this meeting today? You know, and if you are in leadership, if you are an entrepreneur, your battles, honey, are very different than most people's battles. And this is exactly why you want to take your future seriously. We're living our lives to make an impact. So we'll be dropping details soon, but Jules, do you have anything else to add before we wrap our call?
No, I'm so excited, one, for what we're putting together, because it puts what you and I are putting together puts in the hands of entrepreneurs what honestly like the one percenters have access to. We're sharing and dropping knowledge and tools and skills and support and community that usually large corporations are only privy to, or the super elite, you know people have access to. And so I'm super pumped about what you and I are putting together, and I'm also super duper excited to hear from the audience of what comes up this weekend with the two challenges we put up. I feed really well off of responding, and so I would love to hear how this goes. You ask questions, what comes up, like the challenge of how do you want to show up that you put out there. I just can't wait to see the responses that we get.
Yep. Yep. Same. Absolutely. I love that. Well, listen, we thank you for spending time with us today. We look forward to being here. We will be here next Friday, same time, 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern. If you have a specific question you want us to address, we will bring it here next Friday. But something great is coming up, and if you want to be in tune, make sure you subscribe to our content, message us to be on the waiting list. Whatever strikes your fancy, let us know.
So excited.
All
Thank you so much,
right. Well,
Jason. Thank you for putting this on.
thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you for making the time in the middle of running errands for the kiddos and the family. I love
I
this.
I look forward to it. I wouldn't miss
Yeah, same.
it for anything.
Same. I always look forward to these calls because, like, again, the content, the questions, the stimulation of the mind is so beautiful. So thank you for making the time. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk later.